NBC last night, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, a lot of storylines, one of them being the wind gusts out there in Foxboro. It was 22 degrees. It felt like 6.
I hate it when there's that much wind. I mean, it made it interesting, and it made the call at the end of the game from Belichick really interesting and good. God bless. That's why I don't get the criticism of Chris Collinsworth, because I don't know how many people would have brought that up ahead of time. That you might see somebody kick the ball in overtime in order to take the win, which I thought was a great point. And then they thought he won't do it because it's Manning, but he did.
Well, yeah, and for those of us at home, that's what we were kind of talking about it earlier. Having no experience being on a playing field personally, I was like, wow, it must really be affecting the game.
You could really
if
see
he's
a
making
lot
that
of
call.
Manning's balls in particular, because I presume because of the neck, they fluttered a little bit. I just don't. I'm frustrated that we don't get to see them. Like, we look forward to this game, and then we can't quite see them at their best because of these conditions. But it's football.
I disagree. I mean, I think that's part of football is to play with the elements. And, you know, I played quarterback for my fraternity team. Totally different level. It's not quite the Manning level.
Is it a different level?
But look, I
don't sell it short. What frat were you in?
Yeah. No, but look, I went to college at Cornell. It's cold. It's
so you
shitty.
played Cornell frat? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I was making fun of you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Again, my disclaimer for you folks out there is not the highest caliber of football.
Right.
However, my point is, it makes such a huge difference. If there's even, I have a weak arm, so like even like a 5-mile-an-hour wind, it's a huge difference. 20 miles an hour makes all the difference in the world. But there's another factor too. Even with the wind, I don't think Belichick makes that call to kick in overtime without the new rules of overtime.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't kick away where you could where the team could gain 31 yards, kick a field goal and go home, which was the dumbest rule in sports.
Marty Mornhinweg essentially got fired for that because one time he chose to take the win, he kicked, they drove down, kicked the field goal, and they're like, "Are you the dumbest man in America?" Right. And they fired him.
Would you have rather seen that game last night end in a tie, though?
I would have, because I thought it would have been. I don't know if it's ever happened. I meant to check. I would have loved there to be 2 ties in the NFL in one weekend. Right. No, it would have been I think a tie is fun. Like, I don't have any vested interest in either of those teams. It makes the end of the year better because we don't end on silly tiebreakers, especially if head-to-head doesn't apply. The tie will actually, as now will happen, and the Packers will either beat the Bears and the Lions, or not. And that'll be that.
If you could pull up Adam Hogue's tweet from 670thescore.com, he basically points out that this is something that totally gets on his nerves. Similarly to a guy not being able to bunt in baseball, a guy being horrible at free throws in basketball, why let it bounce? Why let that ball bounce and maybe hit Tony Carter the way it did? Why not go and, here it is. Punt returners letting the ball bounce is right up there with missing free throws and not being able to bunt. Drives me crazy. I thought that was a great point. He has a chance to catch
Except for the part about not being able to bunt.
What do you mean?
Nobody cares about that. Right. Let's move on.
No, but I mean, very quickly, one, basically everybody bunts too much. Secondly, like it takes
bunting is not a lost art in baseball?
I got it. This will take 15 seconds. That's it. But bunting may be it's not a lost art. It's a pointless art, and a lot of the guys who can't bunt never bunted before, and now you're asking him to bunt against 96-mile-an-hour fastballs and 91-mile-an-hour sliders. So. But it's a great. I don't know why they don't go catch that ball. Now,
obviously that's the.
But the wind is in.
I have so much to say about this game.
All right, go.
Since we're on Wes Welker, let's talk about Wes Welker. Everyone likes Wes Welker. He's an undersized, let's face it, a white guy.
So therefore he's tougher and smarter than all the black receivers.
He was a factor in last night's fight.
No, he's not a factor. He's gutsy. And look,
letting that ball bounce.
He's not that much different physically than a lot of people who work in offices across America. So we all root for him, and we want him to do his best. But he's overrated. Massively overrated. Yeah, yesterday, he fucked up in many different ways. Dropping that pass was huge. That punt was 97% his fault and 3% Tony Carter's fault.
And he's in there. It's almost not Tony Carter's fault. I mean, you got to know where the ball is. I got it, but I mean,
that's why it's only 3%.
Like the Holiday is the normal punt returner. He's not in there because of fumbling. Like, Holiday could let the ball bounce. like I mean, you're in there to catch it, and also, like, I thought when he cleared out of the way, I'm like, oh, it's going to hit at the 5, and so it's going to go in the end zone. But it didn't. It hit it. Where did it hit? 15? You got to catch it because if it hits the 15, it can roll to the 2.
Yeah.
You got to catch it.
Can we go back to the Wes Welker point for just 1 second, and then I want to get to the Tony Carter play.
He's had so many big, crucial
I understand.
drops.
I personally root for Wes Welker. I really do. Because no, not because I'm white. That's not the reason. Get past.
No, it's part of the reason.
Okay, it's a little bit. No, it's not a part of it at all. He was doubted going into college. And he was a fantastic high school player. Has a great college career, doesn't get drafted, just gets a chance with the Chargers, doesn't make it, and then gets picked up by the Dolphins and then falls into Tom Brady's lap and makes the most out of it. So out of anything, he's been doubted his entire career until he went to the Patriots.
I know, I get all that. And that's the same reason why we all root for him. But the fact that he physically looks like a lot of people.
Right, he's 5'9", $185.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of guys in this office are 5'9", $185. That's how we root for him.
I'm not 185.
I'm also not 185. So you're ruling out the entire office.
Wait 20 years. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I certainly don't root for Wes Welker in any way because he's white. I resent strongly, not from you. I said the notion that somehow he's smarter than other receivers or tougher. He's not. That's just what we say about little white guys in sports. Right. Historically, he's not tougher. He's not. And I'm sure he's smarter than some, but he's not as smart as others.
Well, he was not very smart on that play.
We never presume we just presume Calvin Johnson is right. But there's the thing. He made 2 big mistakes, right? You got to catch that ball, even if you don't. He was like, it looked to me like maybe he was thinking about spinning to try to get the first down. Catch that ball, you'll go for it from the 32, or kick the field goal and win the game. And you got to catch the punt. Those are dumb plays. Those are head plays. I mean, the DB made a nice play to knock the ball away. But those are dumb plays, but to go back to, I don't want to get a whole thing about race, but the Calvin Johnson, that guy just runs downfield with that great athleticism and catches balls. I mean, I don't know, Calvin Johnson may be twice as smart as Wes Welker. I think if Calvin Johnson, he would have fair caught that ball, and then they'd have had the ball at the 20-yard line and might have won the game, and I'd have won some fake money.
By the way, No-Shaw Moreno was seen on crutches after the game.
He's in a walking boot.
I'm not sure if you guys saw this. He's in a walking boot now. If we could pull that up, there he is.
How about the phrase "walking boot," which didn't exist in American society until seriously 40 minutes ago, right? And now, I mean, for the last 2 years, people are in walking boots. Nobody ever, and they say it and it's one of those things that people bring up and start talking about like everybody knows what it is and knew about it before.
They put walking boots on these guys now just so to alleviate any pressure whatsoever to their foot. Period. So if he tweaked it at all after 224 rushing yards.
I'm in 2 walking boots right now.